Wolverine fatigue is real, and I feel like that's the main reason why I'm seeing a growing disdain for Wolverine as a character and an X-Man, and it's the reason why I'm starting to see it almost become a trend to hate on Wolverine. Now, I like Wolverine just as much as the next person, but I do agree with people, and if you ask most people, the team that they want to be the starring MCU X-Men team usually does not contain Wolverine. And I think they're right for saying that. We've seen Wolverine way too much, and a lot of the time it hasn't been as good as people think. And the main reason for that for me is definitely the Fox movies. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the Fox movies. I can see why people like them, but I just don't think they're good X-Men films. I think they're okay films though. I think they're good enough to introduce the general population about who the X-Men are, but in reality, they almost do seem like propaganda for Wolverine, and then they included some of the other X-Men. Now, I don't really blame Fox for this because Wolverine is one of the most famous Marvel characters and most famous superheroes. He's definitely the most famous X-Men, and he has been ever since he was created. Even in the earlier 90s and 80s polls, Wolverine was always in the top of the list. He's always been loved, and he's still extremely popular. He's got a game coming out in a few months. He was just recently in Deadpool and Wolverine starring in that film, and he's still really loved by the fans. A personal reason why I've started to dislike Wolverine as a character is this constant spoon feeding of the relationship with Jean Grey. Now, don't get me wrong, Wolverine having feelings for Jean is a big part of his character and his history, but I'm really getting bored of this narrative of, I hate Cyclops, I deserve Jean, she's my one true love, and we've even seen it in the most recent episode of X-Men 97. It's getting tiring, I'm full of it. Also, people often say less is more, so when we get Wolverine as the main face of every main centric X-Men film, and he's in every branding, he's in every film until he's 90, you're gonna get bored of him. That's why I don't want to see Wolverine. I want main characters. Cyclops is my favorite X-Men. I want him to be the leader of the X-Men. Wolverine isn't the leader, but he's presented as it, and I bet if you ask the general population who leads the X-Men, they'll probably say Wolverine. Now, Wolverine fatigue doesn't automatically make him a bad character, but I also feel like people have this common misconception that Wolverine is just an angry, edgy killing machine. And don't get me wrong, that is a part of his character and what he's gone through, but in my opinion, that's not even close to the most compelling part of Wolverine as a character. I think his relationship with some of the younger X-Men like Kitty and Jubilee is so much more interesting. X-23, Laura. But people often just think Wolverine and think claws, kill people. Yeah, he kind of makes it hard to not think that, but I really just don't think that's what people should think about when they think Wolverine as a great character. Now, Wolverine was the first X-Men member to get his own solo series, and he is in the big three of Spider-Man, Hulk, and Wolverine, who are the three biggest Marvel characters despite the MCU making other characters more popular. But I really just think that the more we've gotten him, the less he's been popular almost. Because me personally, I've never been the biggest Wolverine fan, but I do like him as a character. But when I try to watch the Fox movies, I want to see some of the other X-Men. And that's why I think it's the main problem. He's been branded as the leader and the main guy, when in most X-Men comics, he's just another member of the team, even though he does have more comics than some of the players in there. Now, let's talk more recently. X-Men 97. Season 1 had this great emotional ending where Magneto rips Wolverine's adamantium skeleton out of him. So the season ends, and everyone's thinking season 2 is really going to have a big impact on Wolverine. He doesn't have his adamantium now. Let's see how he fares. In episode 1, we get him with the bone claws. He's a little more feral, interesting. We then don't see Wolverine for 3 episodes. But in episode 5, that's when they really cooked him. In episode 5, Wolverine teams up with Morph, Lady Deathstrike, Sabretooth, and some other characters just to go and get his adamantium back. But the team doesn't know that. He tells them that there's some stuff going down on Weapon X and they need to go check it out. But in reality, Logan knows that the only reason he's going there is because he needs, or at least he thinks he needs, his adamantium back. Now, we get some great moments where Morph asks him, "You're not just a simple killing machine, Logan. Don't you see yourself as more than that?" And Wolverine says no. And I feel like that's really regressing Wolverine's character. Not only did they completely undo the emotional impact of season 1, but they are quite literally just turning Wolverine into this guy who can't see himself as more than just a killing machine. I know that's a core thing in his character, but he's been around for over 50 years. Can we move on? Can we do something else with his character? X-Men 97 have been so great, and I'm not gonna lie, that really gave me a bad impression of the show. They did nothing with Logan's character. In fact, they regressed him. Instead of progressing him and giving him some development after that emotional season 1 finale, they did the opposite. And I feel like that's really going to hurt his image for those the people that actually love the show. Now, with all of that being said, I don't think we should just wipe Logan off the face of the planet. He's still very beloved and a great character. But I do think we need to change how we strategize introducing Logan and how he's presented. I feel like in the new MCU X-Men reboot, don't have him for a little bit. Let some of the other X-Men shine. Maybe give him his own solo series set in Japan, and then you can introduce him. But let some of the other X-Men shine. They deserve it, and there's so many great characters that need their spotlight. So yeah, that's Wolverine, why people hate him now. If you enjoyed, if you made it up to here, show some support, like, comment, subscribe, please. It means a lot, and I've got a video coming every week, so stay tuned.